Welcome to the Building a Better You podcast, presented by the Garner Chamber of Commerce Young Professionals. I'm Nick Spindler with Community of Hope Ministries.
And I'm Chris Morgan with eXp Realty.
The goal of this podcast is to help young professionals develop and grow into successful business people in their communities.
In each episode, we will talk with local business leaders to provide strategies and tips to help our listeners.
So let's dive right in. Welcome back to Building a Better You, and we are excited here for episode 2. We have Nicole Barone here with us. It is not Barone or Bar One, it is Barone, Chris.
Oh boy,
yeah,
listen.
We were just discussing the correct pronunciation, and everybody thinks it's Barone because of that show, that TV that everybody loves Raymond, because they're the Barones.
That's what I thought. So question. Now let's dive a little deeper here, because I'm curious. So when you and your husband met, did he correct you? Like, did you know that it was pronounced that? Did you say it incorrectly? Because I'm just curious.
So when we met, I only knew his first name because when we met, we were in a local sports pub, and somebody had a fake ID back in the day. So I never got to see his name written anywhere. And on our second date, I actually met his whole family. So I learned real quick. I was told from the beginning, Barone, and there has never been any mispronunciation on my part.
Gotcha.
But he doesn't. I'm probably actually pickier about the pronunciation than he is. He's just whatever, call me whatever, I don't care.
So at the pub that night, what was Joe's name?
Yes.
Well, he told me his first name only as his real name, Joe. But I believe that on the identification that he had at the time, it was Mark, Gentile or Gentile or something
Jacobs.
like that.
Next time I see him, I'm just going to call him Mark and see if he even picks
Oh, he
up
won't
on it.
remember. He won't remember.
That is so funny. I love that, though. That's awesome.
The things you learn on Building a Better You.
I know about fake IDs, guys.
Nicole, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I am Nicole Barone. I work for Davis Insurance and Financial Services. So we are the local State Farm office, one of the local State Farm offices here in Garner. We're on Avisboro Road, right next door to Avisboro Coffee. For those who know, they know. It's the little coffee spot that everybody loves around here. So we're right next door, which is not always a good thing. I kind of have developed a little bit of a coffee addiction over the years, but
they have the best blueberry muffins, by the way.
Ooh, okay.
I will say that.
Okay.
That's like a staple. I have to go there. I think they buy it from.
I can let you know where they get it from, but
from BJ's.
No.
Sam's Club.
Nope.
No, there's a person that makes them, that delivers them.
Get out.
It's like a company. It's
Oh.
a business.
Well, they are good.
Yeah, they are very good. But yeah, so I am your local insurance agent here in Garner. And I've been with Matt for 8 years doing this now. So got a little experience under my belt.
For those of y'all that confused, with Matt means Matt Davis at State Farm. And
yes.
Davis, say it right for me again.
Davis Insurance and Financial Services is the official actual name of our State Farm office.
I'm trying to get that in my head, so I stopped saying Matt Davis with State Farm.
A lot of the community does refer to us as Matt Davis State Farm, which is fine also. Just a lot of people don't realize that in addition to insurance, we do financial services. So investing, retirements. Matt Davis is securities licensed. So, the name lets everybody know Davis Insurance and Financial Services that we do more than just your home, your auto, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say it's good because I had no clue, honestly, until you started going with that name. I was like, oh, they do all that?
Did y'all just transition to this name?
No, it's actually been the LLC, the business has been under that name for years. It's just we kind of started to realize as an office the benefit of utilizing that name more just recently here in the past few months. Because, in the community, we've always just referred to ourselves as Matt Davis State Farm because it's just easier.
Yeah.
And it requires less explanation. But the flip side of that coin is also the fact that, telling people, well, it's Davis Insurance and Financial Services actually opens up a conversation. And so, by using that name a little bit more frequently now, we have found that a lot of people who didn't realize we could do certain things are now like, oh, well, I need to call you. We need to have a conversation about this. So it's been a good change. It's been really positive for us to actually start utilizing the name that he created for the business.
It's so crazy because, like I said, I had no idea. So I'm just finding this out on the show along with you viewers. But my question now is that something that sets you guys apart from your local competition now? Because I can't tell you, if I know of a actual person who does insurance but also financial services as well.
It does set us apart. It sets us up because most insurers are going to offer like your standard auto, home, maybe some life insurance. So the financial services sets us apart from our competitors with other carriers, but it also can set us apart from other State Farm agents because not all agents have the licensing to do the securities and the financial services. So it actually, and some do not. It varies from agent to agent. But it kind of sets us apart from other State Farm offices as well, knowing that we can do these additional things and provide additional benefits to our customers.
So, I love that.
Yeah, so thinking on the insurance side, obviously this podcast is geared towards the young professionals. As someone that sells insurance, what do you think is the type of insurance that young professionals probably don't even realize they should consider getting?
There's a few things. When it comes to if you are a small business owner or you are, a business owner, commercial insurance is very complex. And so when I sit down and I meet with a lot of small business owners, I do find that sometimes they don't have like correct coverages in place as far as like their general liability. You might get a bond, but a bond is not, because you might be required to get a bond for your LLC, or you might be required by the state of North Carolina to get a bond, but a bond is an insurance.
Yeah.
And so, I meet with a lot of people who think that, they have coverages that they don't have. So it just, it's important to sit down, whoever you're with, and review over your policies with your agent, especially when you're a small business owner, to make sure that you understand exactly what's covered. On a personal side of things, the one thing that I can say is probably the cheapest policy that you can get with the most amount of coverage. A lot of people don't know that you can get $1 million in liability that'll extend over your home and auto insurance. And it's a very inexpensive coverage to have that additional $1 million to protect you from like a lawsuit, for instance. So I talk to people who are small business owners, and obviously, when you're a business owner, your personal assets are a concern as well as your professional ones.
Absolutely.
And so they don't realize that it's actually very inexpensive to get some additional coverage in place. So that's another big one that I talk about with young professionals and new small business owners a lot, is a personal liability umbrella policy.
So really quickly, I want you to school us, because I think I would be in the camp that doesn't know this. What is the difference between a bond and insurance?
So a bond is basically a promise that the insurance company makes to pay money to, like say if you were to go into somebody's home as a part of doing your business and you were to steal from them. The bond makes a monetary replacement of that lost value, okay? Whereas insurance, if you were to go into somebody's home and say you were to be doing work and you were to leave a cord out and one of the people living in the home came and tripped over your equipment and fell and decided to sue your business because you were negligent in not leaving things secured correctly, that's where insurance comes in.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we know you work there, sell insurance, and have the financial services piece of it, but really why we were interested in talking to you is because I know you are really passionate about networking. I've heard you talk about it a lot and it's one of the reasons that you're passionate about the Chamber of Commerce. And so I'm interested to just hear from you. Why are you so passionate about networking? Why do you think it's such a big deal?
I mean, I'm really super passionate about networking because in what I do, and I think that this is true for actually most small business owners out there, relationships are super important.
Amen.
Relationships are super important, and networking allows you to build relationships and build trust with people. Because most people that I deal with, they want to trust the person who is helping them manage their risk. And that's basically what insurance does, right? It helps you to manage the risk of your life, whatever it is that you're involved in. And so that requires a lot of trust. You know, you've got to trust what I'm telling you and that I'm giving you good, correct information. And networking allows those relationships to form that are trust-based, because you see people, they know you, they see you in the community, you know, they see you helping out and volunteering and doing all the things that we do with the young professionals. And, you know, they know that, hey, like, I can talk to her and she's I'm going to lead you in the right direction, whether it's with me or you're insured with somebody else. If you have a question, you know, because I'm here to build relationships with people, I'm going to answer your question honestly, you know, and that's what networking really allows me to do is, you know, obviously meet people in the community. You know, all of the things that you think of when you think of networking are great and they're very, very helpful. But I personally get a lot out of it and I enjoy it because it allows me to develop personal relationships with people. And that's key. It really is.
That's awesome. I love that because I feel like you, as well as partnering with Matt, y'all have built your business based off of those relationships.
Absolutely. And I think that especially here in Garner, I mean, that's the case with a lot of people. I mean, we have a very wonderful, tight, close-knit community here. And, you know, those relationships, that work that you put in to build that up really pays off down the line.
So speaking of that tight-knit community that we do have here in Garner, you're not from Garner.
No.
So I know for a lot of young professionals, like it can, like thinking of networking and coming into a community and maybe they didn't grow up here and not from here or whatever, like networking can just be this big scary thing. How did you tackle that, not being from here and knowing that you needed to build those relationships? How'd you do it?
Well, I mean, if you know me, I'm not a very shy person, so that is very helpful. But
That
you know,
does help.
even if you are, you know, a shy person or you're a little bit more reserved, it doesn't matter. You can still benefit from networking. You can still build those relationships. But the key to doing that is participation. You have to be involved. Participation is key. You know, you need to be going to events. You know, you need to be actually talking to people. You can't go to an event and sit in a corner and expect to get a referral or build a relationship with somebody. You know, you have to get out of your comfort zone, which is really hard. And it was hard for me at first, not being from this area. I came in and I had been working for Matt Davis for years. And, you know, he encouraged me to get involved and, you know, join the chamber. And I started out volunteering as an ambassador. And then I got more involved with the young professionals, and it has just grown because, again, I participate. I do a lot of things. I come to events. I talk with people. And it's not always about business, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
A lot of times I'm talking with people about their personal lives, their kids, you know, when we're just chit-chatting. But, again, you just have to get out of your comfort zone and talk to people, participate, volunteer, go to events. I mean, that really is... There's not like a secret recipe, right? It's just get out there and do it.
Yeah. So before Garner, where are you originally from?
Originally, I am from Michigan.
Okay.
So both my husband and I were born and raised a little bit outside of Detroit. And then...
See, if we had video here, I'd ask you like to hold up your hand and show everybody where you're from, but you could do that, but people won't be able to see it.
When you're from Michigan, you know, it kind of looks by the hand, but I'm kind of near like the thumb area where the lakes come down, and
Right.
in that little
Okay.
like concave area between your thumb and your forefinger, that vicinity. But yeah, we both grew up there, and then when we were coming of age was back in 06, 08, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great Recession time. I'm sure we all remember
Great time, yes.
those fun times. And so jobs were few and far between. So he took a job in Texas.
Mm.
And we moved 2,300 miles from Michigan to Texas.
Wow.
And then made our way to Garner because his company has an office in Cary.
Okay.
And my mom decided to move down here after she retired. So we have a little bit of family here. And we were like, well, Michigan's certainly a lot closer than Texas is. Or I'm sorry, North Carolina is certainly a lot closer to Michigan than Texas is. So it worked out, and we couldn't have picked a better place to, put our roots down.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you love the winters here.
Yeah, I do not miss snow. I do not miss snow plowing. I do not miss driving in it.
I'm pretty certain you're experienced though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The North Carolina snow drivers probably drive her crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and okay, I will say people don't give y'all a lot of credit because they're like, oh, people down here don't know how to drive in the snow. Well, that's just a small part of the problem because don't really get snow very often down here, so there's not the same infrastructure to deal with the snow. So the roads are in worse shape because they're not salted. They're not, so really, I mean, I think most Southerners would do better driving in the snow if they had the same like salting and same things going on that we get up in the north. Know.
We'll have to bring it up at the next town meeting.
That stuff's expensive though. That stuff is expensive.
When you only have to use it once every 5 to 10
Yeah.
years.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got to talk to Dustin.
Yeah.
Get on it, Mayor.
You kind of hit on it, but if you had to pick one thing that you're like, if this is like the one tip, or I guess we're calling them nuggets on this podcast, nuggets. If you could have the one nugget of like networking, what would be the one thing that people definitely need to do?
The participate. The one thing that you need to do is participate, get involved, however you want to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to network and meet people when you're just sitting in a corner, right? I mean, just being in the room isn't going to do anything.
Nope. And I mean, and there's a lot more to it than, you can participate through volunteering. You can participate through getting involved with groups like the Garner Young Professionals. There's a lot. I mean, the Garner Chamber is great because they offer a lot of different opportunities for people to get active and get involved. So just pick something that you like and just go at it, Yeah.
Well, and I love one thing you said that I think is huge for me is that you said the conversation doesn't always need to be about business. Like that is one thing that can drive me absolutely crazy is when you talk to somebody and every time you talk to them, it's just a sales pitch. And you see them at all these networking events and you're like, all right, I've met you. You gave me your spiel. Like I know who you are. Or like even then you get the friend request on social media and then every post that they put out there is just all about sales. And to me is like, I don't, get to know me. Like, we have a relationship through the chamber now for, 5 or 6 years and we both know what each other does. And we know that if we need those services, we can just get in touch with each other. But like when we get together, when we're at networking events, like we're catching up, like how's the family, how's Joe, how are these things, building that relationship. And then if I ever did need insurance, I'm like, oh, well, I know Nicole, like she actually cares about me as a person, not just as a sale. So like, let me give her a call.
Absolutely. And that's key, for what I do because State Farm is not like a transactional company, and I'm very grateful for that. I probably wouldn't work at a lot of the other, insurers out there because, it is a little too transactional sometimes for me. And I think that insurance got to that point, but I think we're starting to see a swing back where people are understanding like the value of having a relationship with your insurance person, more so than, we kind of saw, I think, a turn for a few years there of everything being done online, and that's starting to change, which is great. I like it because, like I said, that's why I'm in this. That's why I do what I do because, I like helping people and I like building those relationships with my customers. They're not just a transaction; they're actual like human beings that some of whom I've known for many years.
Yeah.
So that's one pretty cool thing about what I get to do every day that I really like.
I love that she earlier she said of how getting involved and participating, right? even if, we're in the young professionals group, we don't have to worry about it. If you're not a part of the young professionals group, you can also do it in other areas. Whether that means you're going to play for the recreation center or you are getting involved to go hang out at some local restaurant that you go to and do music bingo or however it is. Yeah. And so I think that's absolutely amazing for you to say something like that, because it shows, yes, you want to get involved, but you also want to do more than just having to be a business mindset.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think that anybody enjoys being all business all the time, right? Like, we got to have some fun sometimes.
Thinking about, being in insurance and all the people you deal with without breaking any rules, without saying something you shouldn't say, what's the craziest thing you've ever had to deal with?
I mean, I've seen a lot of crazy things. The one thing that I'm going to say that I can, talk without really breaking, any specific, confidential stuff. You would be kind of shocked at how often people drive cars into buildings. The number of times that I have seen this in my career, like, I was like, oh, that never happens. Yeah, no, just me personally, I see it happen in my work at least once a year. So you have to think, if you extrapolate it out with all the, insurance agents and all the companies that are out there, I mean, it's happening more than people would think. And I used to, before getting into insurance, I used to be like, how do people run a car? How do you drive a car into a building? Like, I just don't understand how this even happens, how this is possible. How do people
You're trying to wrap your head around
drive? Yes. And the amount of times and the number of times that I have seen it actually happen is kind of shocking. So make sure you have, I saw somebody drive a car into an apartment complex. I've seen it happen on, like, commercial businesses. I've seen it happen to, like individual homes. So just, make sure that if you're renting, you've got your renter's insurance. If you own your house, just make sure you've got that, because you think it's never going to happen to me, but I was shocked at how frequently that happens when I got into this business.
So I got a question to ask pertaining to this. Now that you've seen this and you've experienced it a couple times, too many, it seems like, are you, when you get that phone call, are you essentially asking them that question? Or do they give you the voluntary information of saying, yeah, this is really what had happened?
I thought I was in reverse, but I was actually in drive.
I was distracted by someone, like...
I mean, yes. I mean, it depends on the person. I mean, some people are just real honest, and they're going to tell you exactly what happened right from the beginning, and you're going to get a good story while they're at it, too.
Okay.
That does happen. Now, sometimes people try to vague it up a little bit, and, you can tell they're trying to, like, be vague, and they're probably embarrassed, and they don't really want to tell you
I was
what
embarrassed
happened.
when I was like, I had a situation where I didn't hit a building or anything, but I was in the Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and I just got my car probably within the past 2 weeks, brand new, and I scuffed the rim. And having to make that phone call to the guy that sold me the car at the dealership of saying, yeah, I got to come back because this is what happened, I was trying to figure out, like, this guy's going to think I don't know how to drive. I'm going to have to call all the time. This is after just 2 weeks owning the car.
Yeah, so when I think this was before I got my license. It was, we'll delve into the realm of insurance fraud. So I was
not listening.
I was going to go to a friend's house, and my parents were getting ready. I was like, well, can I just go start the car? I think it was like in the winter, and we needed to get it heated up. I was like, I'll just go start the car. And so we had a stick shift, and my parents would pull it into the garage and leave it parked in reverse. And so I go to start the car, turn the key. In my mind, I've got my foot completely down on the brake, not going anywhere. In actuality, I had my foot completely down on the gas pedal. And so I turn that key, and that car starts to take off backing out of the garage, and I'm like, why is this moving? So I temporarily take my foot off the gas for a minute, and then I'm like, oh, the brake's not working. I need to slam down harder. And so come out of the garage, and there's like a little brick wall, maybe 5 or so bricks high, that I slam. And speaking of just having your car, the car was less than a week old. So the insurance company believes my dad was trying to avoid the cat.
Well, that one.
But yeah,
that happens sometimes, especially with young drivers. But I just to say, we have seen it all. We have heard it all. There's probably nothing that somebody can say to me as far as like a claim goes anymore that would shock me.
Okay.
Definitely a lot more cars get run into buildings than I think people realize.
I do have an aunt that made a drive-through at a pharmacy once. So
Yep.
It does happen.
I never understood it. I'm like, a building is a pretty big thing. Like, how do you just not see it?
Got it.
Hey, it happens to the best of us. We all have our little oopsie daisy moments.
As we bring this in for a landing, there's 2 questions we're going to ask every guest on this podcast. And so, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
So, probably the best piece of advice I've ever received, one that has probably stuck with me the most over the years, is, a lot of people think if they're not hitting certain markers, if they're not accomplishing certain things by certain time frames in their lives, they're not on track, or things they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. But we all have different things happen to us. We all go through different things in life, and we all have different experiences that may derail you or change your path. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you pick a goal and you work towards it. If you have a goal and it is something that you want to get to, and you are actively working towards accomplishing that goal, whatever it may be, you're going to be okay. Pick a path, and guess what? If that something changes, pick a new goal.
Yeah.
And work towards that one. Just have a goal. It's super helpful in whatever you're working on in life to have goals. But it's okay if those change. Just pick something and keep working towards it.
That's good.
I love that. Well, the last question is, what is one thing that you utilize and do every single day that helps you to be a better you?
Drink coffee. I probably would not be a friendly or functioning human being without some coffee in the morning. No,
Gotcha.
But on the more serious side, I read a lot. So I pretty much am reading up on something that I don't know about every day. Whether it's a new subject, whether it's something new in insurance, a policy that I might not be up to speed on, or whether it's something, in my personal development that a goal that I'm working towards in my personal development. I try to, read something every single day to learn something new.
Yeah.
That's good.
I love that.
Awesome. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. We will throw your contact information in the show notes. So if you guys are needing insurance or financial services, you can reach out to her. But also, if you're just curious about networking, Nicole is amazing at it. There's so much more that she could teach you than just we could talk about in these, 25 to 30 minutes. So if that's a big scary thing to you, definitely reach out to her, because I know she would love to connect with you and help you out there.
We can go get a cup of coffee. I do work right next door to the coffee shop.
It is really good.
There you go. Can they bring their babies?
Yeah.
Oh, ain't that sweet.
Bring all the babies. Bring the fur babies. I don't care. You can bring the fur babies right into my office. And the real babies.
Really?
Yeah. Bring them on by. We love them.
Awesome. Well, as we say, as we hate to say it, but please go rate, review, subscribe. Remember, 5 stars only. If you have a 1-star review, send that email to Dustin Williams. His contact information is episode 1 show notes. But, we hate to say it, but it does help the algorithms and us get out to more people. But we will be coming out with a new episode here in a few weeks, so we'll talk to you then.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Nicole. We appreciate it.
Insurance is just super easy. You just get them a quote and they pay, right? I mean, that's all there is to it.
Oh, yeah, that's totally all there is to it.
But one thing we need to make sure we remember to do is take a picture, and we already forgot with Dustin, but take a picture with each guest.
You want me to go grab them?